I hope that everyone was able to get their body paragraphs into me. I will have them graded by Friday. This week, we're moving away from the body paragraphs and we're moving on to the introduction and conclusion portion of an essay. You will be writing two sets of introductions. First, let's move on to the discussion forum so we can look at what you have due this week. Okay, so you're going to write an introduction and you are going to respond to two other students about their introductions as well. Remember, what I'm looking for in your responses is for you to give your classmates some advice, help them out. Don't just necessarily compliment them. Now, if you don't have anything to discuss about their introduction, then move on to another student, okay? I really want you to think about what it is you would want to help your student with, your classmate with, as opposed to just complimenting them on how great their introduction is. All right, so now let's go ahead and go to the content area of the classroom. And then we're going to go ahead and launch the unit. This week, you don't have much in the way of readings. It's just a trailer, basically, and here it is right here. It's just a trailer showing you how an introduction could be considered. A trailer introduces the audience to a movie, lets them know what it's going to be about, and so on and so forth. I would say that this is not the best example in the world because a trailer definitely does not give away the ending. However, with a thesis statement, I really do want you to give away the ending in the introduction. The lesson also mentions that your introduction could be set like this. All right, and then it has the thesis statement as the first sentence of the introduction. For this course, I want you to set your introduction like this: hook, supported sentences, and thesis statement. Most courses that you take at APUS will have you write the thesis statement at the end of the introduction. Not at the first sentence, but at the end of the introduction. Now, if you do write it as the first sentence, I will not deduct points. However, I will point out to you that in general, it should be the final sentence of the opening paragraph. I will not deduct points because the lesson does discuss how the thesis statement could be the first sentence. In my view, it's easier at the bottom of the opening paragraph because it tells the reader the point in what you plan to do. Well, to me, it's a lot easier to move on to that plan than instead of going to a hook. And plus, you want to hook the reader right in as soon as possible, so that's why it's sometimes easier to get the reader in with a hook. Now, I'm going to move on and show you how to write a general introduction. The lesson does discuss it in good detail, but just to give you some information that might help you, I'm not going to upload this. I may upload this lesson to you. It just basically gives you an overview of how to write an essay, which we've been discussing the entire semester. But this is generally how the organization of an essay should go. You have your introduction, at the bottom is your thesis statement, then your body, and then your conclusion. So generally, before you bring in the body of your essay, you want to have the thesis at the end of the introduction. And then an introduction can be organized like this. You start with the general idea. Think of a funnel, basically. You start with a general idea. Then you move slowly, specifying your points until you get to your specific thesis statement. Another way to organize an introduction is to start with a case study. For example, let's say you're writing about and I hate to bring up such a controversial subject, but it's the first one on my mind, abortion, okay? And so you can write about a specific instance of someone who had to consider whether or not they wanted to have an abortion, and then from that specific instance, move on to your thesis statement, then give proofs about your points or your argument about abortion, and then at the end reword your thesis statement and then bring back that case study about the person who is considering whether or not to have an abortion and adjust it in light of your points. You can use an actual event, or you can do a hypothetical event too. That's what we call bookending, and sometimes that's a lot easier than some of the information that's discussed in the lessons. It's a little bit confusing in the lessons. So for me, it's easier if you think about the introduction and conclusion as a funnel, the way I showed before. Let me see, hopefully, okay. The way I showed before with the general to specific. And then if you turn the funnel around for your conclusion, you start with the reworded thesis and then you move on to a general conclusion. All right. But like I said, if you follow it the way the lesson has, I obviously won't deduct points. This is just some added information for future courses if you want to take my advice. All right, so moving on from there, we're going to also discuss some grammar. And basically what we're going to discuss is the makeup of a sentence and how to do some sentence combining. So as we've discussed before, the sentences contain a subject and a verb, or what we sometimes say, a predicate. So there's several ways to combine a sentence, two sentences together. You can use a semicolon, as mentioned before. You can start with a subordinating clause or an introductory phrase, and then use a semicolon again. Or you can basically use a subordinate conjunction or a coordinating conjunction. So the lesson does go pretty much in depth with that, but I'm going to go through a couple of these with you. So let's say this first sentence right here, okay? All right. And I'm actually going to close my internet right here because it is making a lot of noise. Okay, well, still making some noise. Okay, so the kids got stuck in the elevator. The principal fixed it. These are two complete sentences, and they're grammatically correct. You have the subject, the kids. You had the predicate, got stuck in the elevator. You have the subject, the principal. You have the predicate, fixed it. But let's say you want to combine the two. Well, one of the simpler ways we've discussed this semester to combining the two sentences would be to use a semicolon. That's a little bland, but you can use it. Another way, though, is to use a coordinating conjunction. A coordinating conjunction is something like and, for, and, or, but, or, yet, so, which we like to say, the fanboys. And I'll just spell it out with it. For, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. So you can use all of these words to combine sentences together. But another way you can combine the two is to use a subordinate conjunction. And I think I mentioned this before, but a subordinate conjunction takes one sentence, a complete sentence, but makes it subordinate to the other sentence. So let's put a subordinate conjunction there, since. Since the kids got stuck in the elevator, or it's actually, that's not the best. Let's put after. After the kids got stuck in the elevator, the principal fixed it. Now, that makes this portion of the sentence subordinate, and this is the main sentence. Okay, so in this, I'm going to go ahead and italicize and bold and underline the subordinate conjunction that makes this part of the sentence subordinate to the main clause. All right? So that's basically giving you 3 ways to fix and to combine sentences. And so basically that's what you have due this week. You have to write an introduction for the discussion forums and discuss your classmates' discussion forums. And I'm actually going to go ahead and pull up so we can take a look again. Back to content. We can look at some of the assignments we have due. So let's go ahead and click on the assignment. And then you have to write an introduction this week. So let's go ahead and take a look at what it is. So you need to create a strong hook, 2 to 3 sentences, and then add the thesis statement. It needs to be the last sentence in the introduction. All right, so basically I want your introduction to be around 4 to 5 sentences. Okay, so you have that due today. So you have a discussion forum, which discusses the one essay you're writing for this course. Then you have your assignments, or the one assignment, which is the introduction, and that discusses the other essay, the one that you're turning into the assignment for this course. And then one final thing you have due for this class is a quiz, and that discusses sentence combining. All right, so that's it for the week. I'm not sure if this lesson helped you at all. Hopefully it did, but if it didn't, please let me know. If you need more help, please let me know. Feel free to discuss anything you like in the Q&A forum. I am happy to help you with any of your questions, and I hope all of you have a fabulous week. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.